I was asked through email to share some thoughts on love and social media and how currently there's a big push and a lot of people are finding love through apps like Tinder and I don't know what they're all called, farmers meet only and stuff like that. To be honest, and maybe the title's kind of clickbaity, I have very limited experience using these apps. I kind of luckily found the right person for me a while back ago, right when these apps were taking off. Otherwise, I can imagine how they drive people crazy. And the reason why I believe that's so is because what's being taken out is very important for in the sake of simplicity and conveniency. Some very important things are taking out from the way we normally socially interact, and it's giving power. I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to sound. Men and women have different ways of showing value, and I think one of the ways women hold value is in beauty, and men don't have that. I'm not trying to sound any kind of way about that. So where that comes into play on finding people on social dating apps, say Tinder, you're scrolling, you're swiping left or right, and that's how you show that you like people. And it's just because I have friends that do it. It's just a nonstop, and I have people that just play the numbers game, where it's just bam, 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 say yes to everybody, and whoever says yes to me, okay, are they attractive, you know? So a lot of guys, and I can only speak from the guy side, are just swiping, not reading the profile, not finding out who they are as a person, just going purely off of looks. And I think that's insanely shallow, in my opinion. Now, if you're playing the numbers game, maybe then once you have 10 likes or however it goes and it shows that they like you or are interested, now you're reading the profile picture and you filter out from there. But the initial thing is like you're not seeing that person in person, how they're reacting with the environment, or meeting them in a natural setting like class, or maybe a bar, or wherever you like to hang out, a club that you're into. It's just, okay, they're a certain amount of miles from me and they look good, so now we're matched up. Now I can find out who they are as a person. It just feels like that's a little backwards, or at least the natural part of meeting people is delayed, where you don't find out who they are until a long conversation later. And even then, people get catfished. So I think it's really tough for people nowadays to deal with social media dating and the current atmosphere. But like I said, there are differences in the game. I think love is ultimately just one of nature's longest game, and it has its own goals, evolutionary and biologically speaking. But there's a certain way to play the game, and it changes the rules, and I think that's stressing people out. It's like our evolution hasn't caught up with all these changes that are going on. So to change the rules of how people meet their potential lifetime mate is such a interesting time to be alive. And I don't know if you can already tell my opinion about it, just the way I'm talking about it, but I think luckily I found my wife through kind of traditional means. Just met her and was able to strike up a conversation. It must be very difficult to find love in that way nowadays, where you're in those same social situations, but everybody's looking at their phone and not engaged. You know, it's almost like you have to, it seems like. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it does seem very like that's just the way it is now, more so. It's a little bit harder. Now, for women, it seems like because some of women's value is wrapped up in appearances, then basically women are playing a different game than the guys are. They can choose the most attractive just scrolling, like they can pick one out of like 20 that they're attracted in because they got hundreds of requests coming in. I don't even think they have to swipe. They just choose who they want to match with, maybe. From what I heard. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not speaking from experience so much, just from what I've seen from my friends, and I'm just giving my thoughts on the topic. So social media dating has to be really tough, and whoever's going through that, hats off to you, and consider finding groups and clubs through different social media apps like Facebook. You can find groups for anything on Facebook. And to be able to talk to someone with a similar interest from the beginning is so much easier than cold approaching somebody or just playing the number swipe game that Tinder or farmersmeetonly.com. they got segregatory dating apps, which is, I guess it kind of fixes the issue. You can kind of, christianmingle.com I think is another one. You can kind of find someone with similar values, but still it's just very superficial feeling, and it's playing with that natural biological process. It's flipping it on its head and changing the rules. So unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of advice. I think there's a lot of YouTube gurus and love guys that can steer people down the wrong path and feed into that superficial quality of just appearances, when I think the most important thing is how that person meshes with your own life, who they are, what their character is, and if that helps complement you as an individual. I will do more videos on love. It's very interesting, especially seeing, being alive right when the internet kind of changed a bunch of things is interesting. And the younger generation, you got teenagers now and young adults that are getting into the dating game, and it's totally different than how it used to be. If you have any specific questions or you want my thoughts, I'm sorry I can't come at this from a hey, I use Tinder and I'm an expert and here's some tips on it. It's just my views on the current state of things. I hope that's okay. But I love you guys, and if you have any specific questions, just email me, and I try to get back to everybody. Love you guys, and see you next video.